Hello everyone, it's Kay here and welcome back to my channel. I have got in front of me two more of the little paperclip pockets inspired by Lollypalooza here on YouTube. Now I have been making these, I just absolutely adore them and find them to be very versatile, and you can decorate them in any way that pleases you. You have a little message that fits inside the little pocket, and then a paper clip which allows you to clip onto a project and keep it safe and have it as an embellishment for a journal or something of that nature. Now I did say I'd do a tutorial, and thankfully someone has taken me up on that, so I am delighted to be here today to go through how you actually make them. Now if I give you the finished measurement, it is, and it'll be inches I'm afraid, 2.5 inches by just under 2 inches. So it's a fair old size. It's not tiny and it's not insignificant if you're worried about it being lost on a project. And clearly once you've done the technique, which is very simple, then you can make them larger, smaller, it's entirely up to you. So to make this particular size you need some cardstock. It can be, as long as you can get your measurements out of it, leftovers from other projects. It doesn't have to be brand new cardstock, so to speak, and it needs to be by measurement 4.5 inches by 3 inches, and depending on how many you want to make, then you cut out that number to start off the process. Now I've already done 2, I'm planning to make 5 in total because you know I'm a batch cooker. And so, having cut out your card, you then need your scoreboard. And I've got this one folded in half just to give me plenty of space to work with and to keep it quite reasonable from a viewing point of view. So putting your short side, that's the 3-inch side, to the bar of your scorer, you need to score at 1/2 inch, which is very straightforward. You then turn it so that 1/2 inch score line is nearer to you, and the line is now going across your scoreboard. And you can do this whether you have a scoreboard or not. A soft tablecloth and something to score it with and a ruler will work just as well. You then score at 1.5 inches and again at 3.5 inches, and that's all the scoring involved. So you've cut your card, and this is why batch cooking with this is so easy. Short side at the top, the 3-inch side, score at 1/2 inch, turn it so that score line is closest to you, and on the long side, which is 4.5 inches, you score at 1.5 and 3.5, and it really is as simple as that. So you do that for each one that you want to make. Then you can put that away and out of view. You then take your scored card, and on that 1/2 inch bottom you fold up and burnish. I've tried to make these with paper, it really doesn't work. You need the strength of the card to hold the pocket well, if that makes sense, otherwise it's a little bit floppy, and even when you have your little message inside, it still tends not to sit very well on your project. So you end up with 3 burnished areas, the long, the 1.5 and the 3.5 score line. So already you've got it taking shape and you can see what's going on. So I'll do that again, fold up the 1/2 inch and then fold in the 2 side scores, and already the little booklet pocket is taking shape. So there's 2, and again the 1/2 inch, fold over the side ones, whichever way suits you best, and don't be afraid to really crease it up and keep it nice and tidy, because you don't want them, particularly if you're using them as embellishments on your journals, to become too bulky by virtue of them not being folded very well. So that is that all done, and we have 4 here. Then you get a 1 inch hole punch, or perhaps a 2p coin that you can place half over the edge, draw around it and cut it out if you don't have a 1 inch punch. And I tend to, just by virtue of the sides and the corners really do fit quite nicely, take your punch into halfway, because you're making that little thumb punch. So there's 1, and we'll do it again. It doesn't matter if they're not identical, you're aiming for central to that central area, and you want to be about half the size of the 1 inch punch, which makes it a 1/2 inch there too. Move all your little bits out of the way, and then finally that last one, line it up, punch it out, and that is all there is to that part. The next bit you need are your paper clips. Now I'm using this size of paper clip, and it is just under 2 inches long, which suits this really nicely. And you either put it to the top crease or to the bottom crease, and what you want to end up with is the smaller aspect, the smaller curve of your paper clip on the outside. You don't need that great big bit there, because it will hold it quite nicely with just that small area there. I tend to keep mine on the larger of the areas of scoring, and what you need to do then is anchor that down with some sellotape, and not only does that then keep the paper clip secure, but when you pop things into the pocket, there's no way it's going to get caught up on the inside aspect of the paper clip. Now I've done that one a little bit snug. What I've done usually is left a little opening like this, because then you can take it another step further. If I just show you here and anchor that, this is just another decorated paper clip, anchor that on, follow around the fold, and you've actually got a lovely little dangle on the side of your pocket, just for a bit of added interest. But that's an optional, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So we'll continue in the same vein. The smaller loop of the paper clip will go to the outside. Leave a little bit free if that's what you want to do, or snug it right down to the card. I think, you know, for that it's entirely up to you what your preference is. I quite often like to add little extras onto these kind of things, just to make them a little bit different and to add another dimension to the little pockets. So again, I've put the smaller of the curls on the outside, anchoring down with a bit of sellotape, all very simple and straightforward. So there I have my sellotape. Oh, I've got one more. I might as well do it while I'm here. I don't like to leave things half done. That one goes on to the outside like so. I hope I'm in shot. And that then fits completely over and just beyond the bottom of the paper clip there, and that keeps it really nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. Now we have to do a little bit of cutting, and you cut off the small rectangles at the bottom of the two side flaps, and then gently wedge, so you end up with that standardized little wedge there for folding up on your pocket. And you do that to each one in turn so that they all come out looking exactly the same as you go along the process. If you do them in bulk like this, it does also remind you of the steps that you need to do. So there's 3. I'm going to have one left over here, but I'm not worried, because as I say, I'm very fond of making these. I'm finding them quite delightful. Not a huge project to undertake, and you can pick them up and put them down at will really, which is rather lovely. So that is that. Now what I do personally, and again it depends how you work and how you want things to take shape, I then go on and cut out the little insert pockets that I want, the little insert cards that I want to put inside the pocket, and these are, as you'd imagine, slightly smaller than the pocket size. So we've got 2 and 2 1/4, 2. I've got it 2 notches underneath the 2 1/2. If I show you there, I'm hopeless at these things. It's a bit beyond 2 1/4 and not quite 2 1/2. So that's the size of it lengthwise, and then you want it to be 1 3/4 in width, and that will fit into your pocket like so, quite nicely, with a little bit of jiggle room. So if you want to stamp on it or put a flat back pearl on it, you've got the facility to do so. So you cut out enough of those to fit into the pockets that you've made. Just clear the desk here, and then you want your most favourite glue. Now at the moment I am using these glue sticks. I can't remember where I bought them from. It might have been, oh, it's Asda. Well, what could be easier? And it's a pack of 4, but they work really nicely and do fit the job, fit the purpose of the job very well. I tend to fold in the wider of the sides, put some of the glue down through the front there, also on the outside edge of the smaller side, and fold over. That way you've got no glue visible, and it will sit there quite nicely, which then leaves you that 1/2 inch little bit there, and you just put your glue on there and fold it up, burnish it again, and just wait for that to go off. It does dry quite quickly, and I find if your hands are warm, that helps settle the situation as well. But there is your little pocket just like so. So we'll carry on and do the rest. Fold the side over with the paper clip on it, add a little glue onto the edge there, a little glue onto the outside edge of the narrow pocket, and fold it over, and then add a nice bit of glue onto the tab end, and again bring that up, squidge it, squidge it, squidge it, add, technical terms coming out here, add some warmth from your fingers to help the glue just stick where you want it to be. And again, wide side out, fold it in, put the glue along that edge and also on the outside edge of the small little bit there on the other side, squidge it down and add glue, fold it up and over, and again squidge it to make sure that it anchors really nicely on the areas that you've applied your glue. When you turn it over, you can see a little bit of your paper clip, but it's no biggie. By the time you put your little measure, your little word token in or what have you, it's all covered. So that's those three done. At this point, if you want to round the corners of your little ticket that goes in there, do, but I find if it's a snug fit, they're not going to fall out, and sometimes it's just easier to add a stamp to it, or you know, a favourite quote, or perhaps Tim Holtz's little bits of wordage that he does, and it fits in there really nicely. Decoration, again, is a very personal thing, and you are in a position to use up scraps that you might have lying around. What I've done is utilise the little offcuts from the acetate embellishments that I made a few days ago, and I've just inked around the edges, put a tiny little bit of lace under a single rose, and just used one flat back resin something or other doodad bit of bling, and then with the paper clip sticking out of the end, I'm going to glue the centre of that area with my glue stick. Make sure I've got my little embellishment up the right way. You can see that I've just inked around the edges just to make it all in keeping with the look that I'm trying to achieve, and they just come out so prettily, and that's it, done. So we'll carry on and do the last two. These are chunky because of the floral little tributes there, the paper roses, but you know, this would be probably to go on a proper journal with hidden hinge system, or you know, the layered spine, so you've got a little bit of space in between your pages to accommodate the rose. Failing that, you can flatten it down a little bit because it's only mulberry paper at the end of the day, and perhaps gain a little bit of space that way as well. I do like that little dingle dangle on it, I must say. I do find that a little bit more appealing, but it depends what you want to achieve with your particular project. So again, I've just added a pile of glue from my glue stick into the centre. I'm then going to place that centrally into the little area that is designated to this little embellishment. I don't want to put anything on the back with the paper clip because clearly you're going to be adding that onto your card, your envelope, or whatever else it is that you decide to attach it to, and that is how it sits. So I'll put the one on here with the dingle dangle as well, just so that you've got that in your mind. And there are 5 very, very lovely message pocket paper clips. Now remember, please, because I do like to be respectful to people that I have been inspired by, there is a tutorial from Lollypalooza, who inspired me and got me started on these little pocket embellishments. No doubt Lollypalooza found it from someone else, and this is how our crafty experiences grow and go on. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I will link Lolly's channel below so that you can go along and check out her channel too. Thank you so much for joining me at this point, and I hope you feel inspired to try these out. If there's anything else you've seen on my channel and you'd like me to do a tutorial on, then do message below and I will see what I can do. Stay well everyone, happy crafting, bye bye for now.